Welcome to Booklandia, where we review romance novels.
This and every episode are chock full of oversharing and spoilers. Every episode is rated E for explicit.
Oh. Hi. Hi. Okay. Unmute. Yellen. Need to remember to unmute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, just a little thing for a podcast to not be on mute.
Yes. Okay. Well, hello and welcome. I am Sky, the person who forgot to unmute.
I am Ford. I am the person who just now stopped having a headache and is drinking wine to celebrate.
It seems very solid. I am also drinking, but for slightly different reasons.
Yeah, you've had a day.
A day. So I came up with a metaphor for my day. And here's my metaphor. So imagine if you had a pair of tearaway pants and you were really excited to have a pair of tearaway pants because at the end of your day, you can come home and you can remove your pants and jump into bed. But your tearaway pants keep tearing away unexpectedly at the grocery store or at the dentist office or while you're talking to strangers. Instead of being this wonderful thing, they're this really inappropriate thing instead. So today I have had tearaway pants day.
In this metaphor, what kind of underwear are you wearing under your tearaway pants?
Not ones I want to share with others.
Oh no! Like the menstruation, like the slightly stained menstruation panties, or like the really old that has like some of the elastic is going.
And like there's a hole, but you still keep wearing them because they're super comfortable. Yeah, that nice. I have been wearing. I have been showing my my menstrual blood stained underwear of metaphor to the world today.
Ouch.
So that is the day.
I'm really sorry.
But I am really excited that we're talking about Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren today. Because this gave me an absolute reason to wear sweats to recording for the first time ever. So for those of you who watch us know that typically I manage to put on a shirt that is not sleepwear or loungewear. No judgment.
Unlike
if and when you do.
The other person on this.
But this is the first time that I was like, I am wearing loungewear because Josh does it. And so it's on, like, it is a vibe, and it is my vibe today. And for those of you who are very curious, no, my pants are not tearaway because I don't want to risk things.
Would make that not a metaphor. That would make that an actual.
Yes. Yeah. I am wearing sweatpants though. So that is my story. Because one of the characters in this book starts out and then puts his sweatpants back on after a while. And I needed this so very much tonight.
I am almost sure. I can almost confirm they are also gray sweatpants.
His sweatpants?
Thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
His sweatpants are. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Gray sweatpants are a thing in romance novel culture.
Oh, true story. Yes. So I'm following a trend here. And also just it's been a day, so sweats it is.
Yeah. If I had any more spoons to give, I might have put on a kooky outfit in honor of Hazel, but 0 spoons left. Like, we're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna crawl, almost literally just crawl into bed.
Tearaway pants, be gone.
That's how I feel about wearing like a snap-up shirt.
Right?
That's what I look forward to at the end of the day, is just Supermaning right out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's just something about it that's really joyful and liberating, unless it happens at an inopportune moment. And then this joyful thing becomes completely inappropriate.
I could totally see this being like a short film premise, or just like a repetitive premise in a film.
Well then, whoever picks that up, you're welcome. I have a lot of firsthand experience.
I'm you have actual tearaway pant horror stories?
Probably. I mean, bad
Okay.
wardrobe happens a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We can save that for like a mini-sode or something down the road.
A random sode. So
A random sode.
is when we talk about random things like this extreme tangent that already brought up way too much about metaphorical underpants that I was prepared to do.
Amazing. Shall we tell the people what Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren is about?
Firstly, if you missed this, it is going on 4 years. It got released in 2018. Here is the cover. It is a cityscape with Christina Lauren down at the bottom, and a sunset or a sunrise over this. It's San Francisco. They are in San Francisco.
I kind of hate this cover.
I don't think this cover tells you anything, because what is the airplane about?
It tells you nothing.
Other than
the airplane is about nothing.
His faraway girlfriend?
LA. Yeah. Like San Francisco also, like, this reminds me of Seattle more than San Francisco because of the mountain.
Yeah.
I just don't imagine San Francisco plus mountain. Anyway, it tells you nothing. It's not cute. I understand that it's like the previous iteration of the illustrated cover, where now you get the two main characters and then a couple of like important icons of like flowers,
props,
or tool belts, or whatever. Props, exactly. The cute dog or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's really boring and I don't like it. I've said it. It's like the one thing I don't like about this book.
Is the cover. Okay.
All right. Cover. Yeah.
Okay, so you wrote this.
I have some notes on the back, but like I can.
All right.
No,
okay.
It's actually in our review. Come to our review and see what I didn't like about the back cover.
Okay. All right. So since you wrote this copy and I have not looked at it yet, should I read it?
Read it cold.
Okay. All right. I've done this to myself, but I'm a little bit excited. Okay. You want to count me in?
A little long, so I'm sorry. Yeah. And a 5, 6, 7, 8.
So, the title of this book is not what the book is about. It's not a guide. It's a story about college acquaintances Josh and Hazel, who meet again coincidentally, and Hazel, in a stroke of pure Hazel kookiness, decides that they will be best friends. When Hazel's apartment floods, she stays with Josh, where they really bond and decide to set each other up on dates. After many, many double-blind dates, Josh and Hazel become friends who have sex once, and then friends who have sex twice.
You did it! Ding! Wow.
And then friends who, there's a lot more there. And then there's a baby scare. And then
I'm enticing the people in. I'm enticing them, bringing them in.
All right.
I'm trying to like back cover this shit.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're right. There is a baby scare. Josh is Korean American. Hazel is kooky white. No, this is set in Portland.
Oh my god.
That's why it's set in Portland.
There's a hillside. Okay. There's a hillside at the very, very end, and in my head it's that park by Golden Gate. And that is on me. This is set in Portland. You're absolutely right. There's
I was like Pacific Northwest because we just read Weather Girl. And I was like, oh, we're doing 2 Pacific Northwest books back to back. Okay. All right.
I retract my comment about the cover. This is why I was so confused, because I was like, none of the landmarks look like San Francisco. Yeah, it's because it's the park.
Also, Portland does not have mountains to my knowledge. This still feels like Seattle. I'm gonna stick to this. Feels like Mount Rainier to me. And anybody from Portland can be like, we've got mountains. And I'll be like, if you say so.
There you go.
Yes. So that's my hot take. There we go.
All right.
So this book, I'm just going to start with my hot take. I love this book.
Yes.
And the reason why is I love books that change the way I act. and this book made me more Hazely. Hazel is like a free spirit, and she's kind of kooky, and she embraces her kookiness, and she doesn't let people's judgment of her kookiness get to her. She is just who she is, fully formed. And it brought out my inner weirdo, and I loved it because last week was a whole week where I needed joy, and Hazel just brought it back into my life.
Very
Um,
nice.
have you ever been affected by a book like I have described?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. There are multiple books that have done that to me. This is one of my top 2 Christina Lawrence. So this and Half Night Stand are my favorite Christina Lawrence.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't think I could rank them without, like, going back and, like, thinking really hard and crying and yelling, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Yeah, so
But top 2, wow.
yeah, this and my favorite Half Night Stand, and they have really similar premises. They're both best friends who accidentally have sex.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so maybe this is just a trope I really like.
And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you quoted, like, hating this trope when we filmed our minisode last season about friends to lovers.
It
It would
possibly.
I
Possibly.
I feel like you did not like it as much as enemies to lovers, but maybe I have that wrong.
Oh, no,
Maybe I have that wrong
agreed.
in my head.
Agreed. That's true. I mean,
Mhm.
in both of these instances, yes,
So
agreed.
then, by that standard, you would like Unhoneymooners more than these 2,
I would, and
but
On
here we
Honeymooners was.
are.
That's true. So On Honeymooners was the first Christina Lauren I read, which got me
Mhm,
to read everything else that they've written.
mhm,
So
mhm.
On Honeymooners was the gateway. And I will say that the banter in On Honeymooners is
Mhm.
fantastic and hilarious.
Hilarious.
And I
Mhm,
love the premise, and like the beginning of the book is laugh out loud funny. But something about this one, and I think it's just the connection of the characters and their really in-depth character arcs, because both this and the other one have really fantastic character arcs that I find
mhm,
really wonderful and really lengthy.
mhm.
And the only other one that I can think of that's really on par with that is Roomies, but like I have an issue with that book about 2/3 in, uh, which
'Kay.
like took it down off of the pedestal that it was on up until that moment. Um,
'Kay.
but yeah, I mean, I think On Honeymooners is really uncomplicated, and it takes place over
Mhm,
the course of 7 days. And there is some ridiculousness in there that I'm like, grown adults would stop behaving like this. In
mhm,
this one, they're like Hazel's behavior and Josh's behavior
mhm,
are not mature adult behaviors, but they sort of acknowledge that that's the space, the headspace that they're in.
mhm. Right,
And then they
right,
do
it's
have really
justified.
right, and then they have really adult conversations and really significant developments in themselves. So I'm less opposed to them as humans, I think, is what it
Right.
is, than I
I
am.
really respect that Hazel is a a an adult who is also childlike. She still pays her bills, she keeps her pets alive, but she still can be a free spirit and go about her life unencumbered. That was really respectable for me.
Yeah, I'm also like, there's so much about it, and I mean, it's very sex positive and very sex
Mhm,
forward in terms of how she talks about her needs, and
mhm,
how he can fulfill those needs, and if he's going to show up, he better show up and listen. And I love that very
mhm,
much. I was like, yes, just
mhm,
tell him what to do and then he'll do it. That is how it's going to work. um and
mhm.
then all the respect in the universe to any person who is a first grade teacher, because holy mother of monkeys, that is no joke. Is she not a first
I
grade teacher?
believe no, I think she's 3rd?
She's
4th?
making
3rd or 4th?
slime. She's making slime, which is why I assumed she was a first grade teacher.
Yeah, uh, stand by. Keep talking. I'll see if I can catch it.
Well, she's a young children teacher, right? Even if it's not first grade, the people she's interacting with are still very young, and that to me is impressive no matter what. So
I believe, yes, I think I can confirm 3rd grade.
Oh, okay. It's when she's like trying out slime that I was like, oh, that's a first grade project, but I get it. I totally get it.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna slide into my questions here. So,
so cool, so cash,
so cash. So it is about cash. So when Josh and Hazel first reconnect, partially it's because his friends ask her, because he's depressed and he's sitting on his couch in his sweats. And I think this sentence really is, he's been masturbating on his couch in his sweats. Please do something.
There's an inference because he sits around with his hand in his pants.
Right.
I've never understood that as I guess I can not empathize. I can sympathize that it's like a comforting thing for a man to hold his own dick.
Is it?
But I don't understand it as a person who does not have one. Is it just reassuring, like, we're in this together? We're in this shitty place together. I'll hold your hand if you hold mine.
I'm unclear, and I have to say that I also don't find like cupping myself as a comfort, so I could not help you answer this question. But if you're in a possession of a dick, if you're a penis owner and you like to hold it for comfort, please add us. We want to know. But like in a way that you won't get blocked, please, and thank you.
Yes. Eggplant emojis are acceptable.
Absolutely, yes. So, my question is, so they come together. She's like, we're gonna be best friends. And then her apartment floods and she has nowhere to go. And he invites her to move into his apartment while her apartment is sorted out. My question is really about you more so than about Josh, in that, like, if you were in the sad masturbating headspace, would you show up for a friend or just stay in your sad space?
I believe I can say with some certainty, I've never sadly masturbated. I've stressfully masturbated.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come from that place. I would show up for some friends. Like, I'd show up for you, probably. There's a couple others on the list that I would roll out of bed in whatever I was wearing, consider putting on deodorant, say fuck it, consider brushing my teeth, and then come and show up. Like, but I have come to carry more spoons for myself and my personal care than for other people. And I've kind of always been this way. I've always been a little insular, and I think some people would describe it as selfish, and I have described it as selfish in some ways when I was being meaner to myself. But I keep a bubble around myself, and I only have so many spoons to give to other people. And I think there are certain people I would, but not, I can't do it for everybody. I don't do it for everybody when I'm at 100%, when I'm not stress masturbating on the couch in my gray sweatpants. So
right.
So yes and no. How about you? I've seen you show up for a lot of people when you are really stressed, and I respect that wholeheartedly, and it's incredibly admirable, and I have no idea how you do it.
Thank you. So I was gonna say, this weekend there was an instance where I physically actually got up to help someone, and my spouse pulled me back, like physically pulled me back. And I was like, oh, did you need something? And he was like, no, you're not helping. And I had to like be like, wait, what? And he was like, no more. You are done helping in this situation.
Interesting. Why do you think whatever that instance was the final straw for him?
we've had recently a lot of conversations about this particular situation
Okay.
where I've been showing up without it being reciprocal. And so he was like, you have got to stop doing that. And he physically had to hold me back because I just didn't even think about it.
Adam, gold star. You know what? 2 gold stars. Good job. Good job, man.
Yeah, I'm still having a hard time processing that.
amazing.
I feel like
Sure.
I've like could have done better and could have done more. And I don't think that it's like I'm a great person or anything. I think I measure my worth by how how much people see me show up, and that is not healthy and not okay, and don't do that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense based off of what you told me about your experience as a child coming here and how you were the one to have to show up for your adult parents and like the things you had, like you've always been the adult since you came to this country. So like I think that is just kind of who Sky is at your core. And but I don't think putting up a really cute picket fence around yourself is out of the question. Like, I think that would really help you in a lot of ways.
I hard agree.
Some of your spoons back.
Hard agree. I am learning to do that apparently forcefully and by other people.
Right. And like sometimes you have to show up for other people's by just doing what they think is best for you. Like the thing he needed you to do was to not do a thing, which is the hardest thing he could have asked you to do.
Yeah.
And I recognize that he probably recognized how hard that was. Anyway, it like really respectable that you listened to him, to his request. So, I know you're feeling a lot of guilt for not being able to show up, but you showed up for yourself. And if you've watched this season of Queer Eye, you have to show up for yourself sometimes.
I have watched this season of Queer Eye, yes.
Okay. Show up for yourself. Okay, so back on the rails? Shall we get back on the rails?
Please.
Okay, great. I felt like Josh from Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, the book we were talking about 20 minutes ago. I feel like Josh never works. And yes, I understand first third of the book, he's on vacation, he's taken 2 weeks off to get dumped by his LA girlfriend who's cheating on him. Content warning, cheating, pregnancy, that kind of thing. Any other content warnings while I've tangented into content warnings?
Not just like possible miscarriage.
Yeah, toxic masculinity.
There is that. Yes.
In some of those blind dates. Anywho, so he's on holiday for like the first third of this book, but I feel like he never works. Like they were just able to go on a random ice cream date. He can just like come and have lunch with her all the time. And he's a physical therapist, and their practice is so popular they have to hire someone over the course of the book. Like something does not make sense. 1 + 1 does not equal 2 here. Firstly, my question is, does that bother you, and did you even notice? And B, secondly, did you miss it? Do you like seeing characters with jobs working, like, or is that just like fluff?
So I like characters with a personal life outside of the relationship with the other main character. So, at first sight, love at first sight, he's a doctor, and we get a lot into what he does when he is at work, and she is a web developer, and we get into that in addition to their relationship, in addition to the world outside the two of them. And that to me really enriches them as people. And with Josh and Hazel, there is a lot of Hazel, a lot of what she does. I may not have recalled which grade she's teaching, but the fact that she's a grade school teacher is really self-evident in all of the bits and bobs that are part of who she is and how she behaves. And in my head, she was extremely Miss Frizzle. Like, Yeah, she was Miss Frizzle in real life, which was fantastic, and I was really into it. And in case that is a turn on you didn't know you had, enjoy.
No.
Okay,
No.
so and
Not
this
a
is
turn on for me. Sorry.
and this is a very parent thing. There is a reboot of the Magic School Bus. It's called The Magic School Bus Rides Again, and Miss Frizzle. So Mrs. Frizzle is the original Miss Frizzle, and she becomes Dr. Frizzle, actually. And the new Miss Frizzle is voiced by SNL alum Kate McKinnon.
Cecily.
No, Kate
Oh my
McKinnon.
God.
Oh yeah, so like the Kate McKinnon version, and like my life is complete.
Okay. I am slightly attracted to that. You had me at voice of Kate McKinnon.
There we go. That sorts itself out. Yes, I wish I knew what he did in more specific details. We've also I've read a lot like Adios, in which he's a physical therapist, and it went really in depth about that. Also, Adriana Herrera's American Sweethearts. He's a physical therapist. Like, there's a lot of men who are physical therapists in romance novels, and there's a lot more about like what that entails and why that profession matters. And in this one, I've totally forgotten he was a physical therapist. I was like, I don't know, he's a investment banker. He's a very like ambiguous job. So yes, I wish. I don't necessarily wish that he worked more, but I wish I knew more about his work. Like, I can suspend disbelief that
his life. Yeah.
Right. I can suspend disbelief that he can like disappear for an ice cream date. That's fine. But I did want to know more about his work, and I fully understand that not every person who's working is enriched or has growth that has to do with the job that they do. But it does influence their time, and we do spend so much of our time at work that I feel like it does twine into who we are or how we respond to the world outside of work. So yes, I want to know more about the work, and yes, it bothered me that I didn't.
All right. Cool. Same.
So this is more of a comment than a question or an observation question. This again is going to go off the book and into our personal lives, probably. But so at the very, very end of the book, we get to see the two of them not only happily ever after, but she's pregnant. They already have kids. It's like they're having a picnic, and it's such a wholesome family happy ending. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, I was cheering for this. This is not my usual response to something sappy as that. And I just want to know, like, what was in the ice cream that I was like, yes, get it. Be sappy as all get go.
I can actually answer this and explain why you loved this ending so much.
Okay.
Your youngest child was a year old. You were like in full toddler family, like bliss. Your eldest was like 4 when this book came out. Like, you just like you were having the same family moments she was having. I think there was some like reflection there.
It's possible. Or I had a toddler vomiting on me at all times, and I wanted 0 of that on repeat.
Okay, so the greatest escape, the ideal family moment. I mean, you've also often second glass of wine have railed against children in books and how children in books are always perfect.
Yes.
And I mean, this was another moment of perfect, literary children. So like I could see this like another like ideation just right here in this epilogue.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I loved it. I genuinely loved it. I was genuinely thrilled for this development and how they like sorted themselves out properly. and we're having the greatest time. I mean, I was like 3 already, but sure. They wanted a dozen, so go for it, I guess.
I think she wanted like 17, and he was like, "Nah, babe." Yeah, this was just a fine epilogue. This is like every other romance novel epilogue for me, so I did not have the same response.
Okay, so maybe I was like, "Ooh, babies." Yeah, no, that ship has sailed. The gloss is off of that
like
page.
Hormones. Okay, all right. But, like, maybe you were still nursing, that's a hormonal. Okay, I'm just gonna set that idea right over here for you. Okay. So I have a comment. Oh god, I almost knocked this wine over. And my comment is that this book really reminded me of, Talia Hibbert's Guarding Temptation. Her apartment floods, and she goes to stay with her friend, and then they become friends with benefits. Like, there was a lot of, like, parallels between this book and that book, and, I just wanted to say that I'm smart, and I noticed that.
Except in Guarding Temptation, there is an extremely hot masturbating across the room from each other scene that is, I would say, lacking from this book for a true comparison. And Guarding Temptation is a short story?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
That's
but
fine.
no,
Also,
if you
characters of color, like, I get, yes, I understand. Okay.
But if you're like, I need a friends to lovers, Guarding Temptation, yes, but also roommate risk, because roommate risk is the first in that series. Roommate risk is about Raj.
The one I'm thinking of?
Well,
No.
they both have her ending up in his apartment, sleeping on the couch, and then there's like
flooding. I thought it was.
Oh no! I think it's roommate risk.
You're right. It is roommate risk, because in Guarding Temptation, it's about her being stalked on the internet.
Yeah.
Okay. So roommate risk.
Roommate risk. Either way, they're both in the same series. You get the roommate risk people showing up a little bit in Guarding Temptation. If you're a Christina Lauren fan and you're looking for more, that's equally as sex positive and super fun with great banter. Talia Hibbert, everything Talia Hibbert, but but particularly, like, if you're trying to find a comparison to Josh and Hazel, Roommate Risk, and Guarding Temptation, and you get a sex scene like in the first third of the book for both of them.
Yeah, this is barely not a Talia Hibbert stan podcast, so I'm
True
surprised
story.
we haven't mentioned her before.
True story. Yeah, and I mean, if you are trying to get into Christina Lauren, they have a new book coming out in the middle of 2022. Something Wild, something Wilder. Something Wilder is the newest one. Other than the cover, I know nothing about it. But so if
I read a blurb, but I have since forgotten said blurb.
Sorry. But I mean, they are the reigning queens of American romance right now. So this Josh and Hazel, my favorite one night stand or half night, my favorite half night stand on Honeymooners. Those are great, like, Christina Lauren primers to catch up on before you jump into another one of their books. So those are my 2 cents here.
Everything is a standalone for them, except for the Bastard series. I think everything is standalone, so you can just kind of pick up whichever one tickles your fancy.
Yeah, there's 2: the Wild series and the Bastard series.
Yeah.
The Wild series is excellent. It's 4 full novels and a short story, and they're really fun. Yes. So
is this the Christina Lauren stan podcast now?
I mean, so you know what? If you go back through and you listen to some of our other Christina Lauren episodes, we are not always fans. There is sometimes stuff where we're like, that didn't land properly for us. Like, because Soulmate Equation did not land properly for me. I did not.
Mhm.
I have go back and listen to that episode. I did not
Yep.
love it.
The honey, don't list. Yeah. Like,
Yes.
whatevs. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So there's a couple, but then there are a couple that are really spectacular that I do think are worth it. On Holidays was another one that I was like, I don't love this idea.
Mhm.
I don't love how it turned out, but I know that there are people who love everything that they've put out, which is great as well.
Sure. And if you're really interested in sleeping bag sex, that's the one to read.
Right. On
Sure.
Holidays gives you a whole
Yeah.
thing on sleeping bag sex, and then we did a whole like how that scene did not work for us because
Yeah.
oxygen deprivation.
Yep. Sweating. Yep. That's okay.
Sweating in a sleeping bag. Yeah, in case you got lost in this conversation, just add us and we'll explain in greater detail. Yes. All right. I think we're going to take a break. We should take a break right about now.
Fantastic. Let's do.
We're going to take an intermission. When we come back, we will discuss our favorite moments from the book and if this book made us want to get naked. All right, and we're back. We're back, and we're talking about Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. And we're going to talk about our favorite moments. I did not have one, and I can't talk either. Our favorite moments in the book, and if this book made us want to get naked. So,
Okay.
first things first.
Okay. Oh, my favorite moment in the book?
I mean, go for it. You were like, okay, I'm ready. So go for it.
Great. I am just in love with Hazel as a person. I want to be Hazel. I want to have Hazel's freedom. Hazel was my favorite part of the book, which is great because she's like 50% of it. Yeah, Hazel. I'm a Hazel. Y'all. Like, I did a test. I am a Hazel.
Perfect. I need you to explain what the sentence means. CeeLo. Okay, I will get to it in a sec. Then
that's
cool.
My hot take. I put my hot take in the wrong place.
Understood. Okay, so my favorite part of the book has nothing to do with the romance section at all, actually, and it has to do with the fact that Josh has aging parents, and Josh is Korean American, and it is sort of a foregone conclusion for him that as his parents age, they're going to move in with him. And so whoever he ends up with has to be okay with that, has to be fully committed to taking care of his parents with him. And it's a very common tradition, both in Asian cultures, but also in other cultures as well. So it's not new to me. It's a very familiar thing, but he is not an adult who is bucking against us. Like, he is fully committed to that. Like, he's never like, he wants it. He's never like, that's such an old tradition. I don't want to do this thing that has been like the same for generations. I want to change it. I don't want this. Like, I feel like this has been thrust upon me. None of that. He genuinely really wants to take care of his family. And I found that really refreshing, because it didn't feel burdensome. It felt like this wonderful thing that was part of him, and it made him a more convincing three-dimensional human for me, because like this part of him was just so fully formed. And so I stand that.
Nice. I like that he and his sister, in fact, kind of fought over who would take care of their parents.
Right.
Yeah, it's delightful. Agreed. Well, yes. Yeah. What was your hot take?
So I sort of brought it up several times already. This is one of my favorites, and it sort of shares the pedestal with my favorite Half Night Stand. By the way, that's the name of the book. My favorite Half Night Stand is the title of the book, not me saying my favorite. I like the banter. I like the completeness of development for these characters and the arc that they both go through. So yes.
What? How would you describe Hazel's arc?
Okay. From completely untethered free spirit to someone willing to share her time with another person, like fully,
Okay.
right? She has to tell him how she's feeling. She has to share decision making with him, which is a thing that she does not do at the beginning of the book.
Okay.
And that's
All
hard. That's hard when you've been like your own free spirit for such a long time, for him to ask to share that, to like that is a hard thing to change about yourself. So I felt that.
Nice. Okay. Cool. That one, that's a little bit harder. Like her arc is a little bit harder to peg over the book because it is so
Heyo.
subtle. Hey,
I'm sorry.
well done. Well, nope, no, never apologize
For pegging.
Okay, only apologize. No, consensual pegging. Never apologize. Yes, absolutely. Great. My hot take is yes, absolutely, always. And to explain, I believe that CeeLo, Christina Lauren, that's their portmanteau on the gram. I believe that they are the patron saints of contemporary romance. Co-ro, as I wrote.
Aha. This explains Koro. This was an unfamiliar. You used so many terms all in one sentence. Portmanteau,
so amazing.
CeeLo, Koro. I was like, this is a big sentence. I am not quite ready for it.
A lot of portmanteaus in it. I'm trying to make Koro happen. So like, hashtag Koro.
Noted.
No, like they are the bar that everyone attempts to be. And so it's been long enough between the last thing that we've read that I forgot that I didn't like Christina Lauren books because I liked this one so much. So, but this one is also older. So it might be I'm interested to read the new one that's coming out to see if maybe I just like the older phase of their books and not the newer phase of their books. It's metrics. I shall study the metrics.
Excellent.
Did you get naked?
Yes. Hard yes. Literal hard yes. The first the first sex scene that happens in a bed was like the scene, and she like tells him what she needs. I was like, okay, more of this, please. Because I feel like their first encounter is a little like I kept squinting at it. I kept being like, and then they both sort of like
they were really drunk.
Yeah.
The first sex scene is really drunk, which is, dubious consenting if you choose to look at it that way. Though I think they were pretty clear about like they both definitely wanted to do it whilst drunk. But yes, agreed. Hard same. I will always love BFF to lovers. Like it's my favorite. It's my favorite trope. This one was the pinnacle of excellence. So, yep.
I just remembered the minisode and why I was hesitant on BFFs to lovers. And it's not because I don't necessarily like the trope. I just wanted us to acknowledge that there is a very real, everyday possibility of people who are best friends, who are completely platonic, and do not turn into lovers. And there is sort of a implication in a romance book, if you meet best friends, that they're going to eventually realize that they have feelings for each other. And my point was, I believe, was that there is a possibility of best friends who are just best friends, and then lovers who are lovers, and it does not have to be BFFs to lovers. That, I think, is what it was.
How dare you bring your reality into my romance tropes.
Right. So sorry about that.
Cut it out.
Well,
understood. Understood. Like not it's what is it? Not Occam's razor. It's not always zebras. Hoofbeats are not always zebras. Right. So yeah, And I don't think
Yes.
every romance novel does this necessarily, but a lot of them do. You're right.
Yeah. And I mean, I do think that there is something really comfort. Like the whole point is that it's very comforting because you are already emotionally connected to this person, and so there's a level of comfort and safety in the friend who becomes the lover.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's a little bit telegraphed and a little bit predictable, and I sort of read it like, of course you guys are going to make up because you're like, you already know each other's ice cream preferences or whatever it might be, right? Like you're deep in with the other one, so you're bound to make up. And I feel like there are those novels that make a good argument for, but did they really, like, is this dark moment a forever dark moment and they're never going to make it together? And my favorite Half Night Stand, I know I've brought up the book we're not reviewing today a lot, but they have a really excellent dark moment that I was like, okay, I am not sure that they can get out of this. Josh and Hazel less so. I felt like, of course they're gonna sort it out.
Right. But I think their dark moment fell under the umbrella of two adults talking to each other.
Yes, which is a favorite of mine as well. Yes.
I know. I know it is.
It did not feel childish. So like, it did not feel immature. It felt like they were genuinely having a conversation about their needs, and that is the goal, you guys. That is the goal.
Talk about what you need in bed, out of bed, what your favorite ice cream flavor. What is your favorite ice cream flavor? Wait. Let me guess. Rocky Road?
There's a marshmallow in that.
No. I'm so sorry. Do you not like marshmallows?
It's a texture thing. and I did not have them in my childhood thing.
Right. I understand that. You have often talked about how you're having hot chocolate with marshmallows with your children, though, right?
Oh no, they have the chocolate. Yeah, no, I have 0 marshmallows, and also very little hot chocolate. Yes, no,
yes,
yeah, pistachio is my favorite ice cream flavor.
That's a nut. That's not an ice cream flavor.
That is
the most European thing you've ever said to me. Pistachio is my favorite ice cream flavor. Do you know my favorite ice cream flavor?
Ooh, I don't know for sure. No, but I might have to.
You want a Hazel a guess?
Yeah. I mean, I want to say something really ridiculous like Spumoni because it's got every color and every flavor. But no, is it mint chip?
That is my second favorite. Well done, you. Top favorite is chocolate chip cookie dough.
Oh, I see. You get along well.
Don't sound so not excited about it.
No, you will get along well
with children?
With the spouse. Yes, very similar choices there. Yeah, but
we're both from the same place.
Yes.
Of course we do.
Yes, exactly. You would fully be on the same page about this.
Yeah. That was plus ice cream in its raw state. There's nothing wrong with it. It is perfection. I just eat cookie dough sometimes, just straight out of the tube from the store.
This tracks for you.
It really does. It really does. And people are like, but the salmonella. And I go, I don't care. Like,
living on the edge.
If I don't have salmonella, then I don't have to go to the work job that's stressing me out, that's causing me to eat the cookie dough.
Yes,
it brings me joy.
A cause and effect right there. It'll either bring you immediate joy, or as you're having intestinal distress, you will still be joyful.
Yes, it works either way. It really does. So good.
This is the kind of conversation you can have if you've read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating.
You can be a little drunk on Hazel with me.
There you go. That's perfect. That is excellent.
Since we have the time, I would like to ask you one more off the script question.
Oh boy.
So Hazel has a dog and a parrot and a betta fish and something else in a cage, a rabbit, a rabbit. If you were to have an exotic pet, what exotic pet would you have? The eye roll was all you need to hear, people. The eye roll was prolific. It was the most epic.
Yeah, I don't really do exotic pet very well for a variety of reasons. We have a friend that has a chameleon. He's very grumpy faced, but you have to feed him like crickets, maybe. But he's adorable in the most grouchy way. But I guess he's spiky and like he bites.
Not pettable.
Not pettable. Yeah, we had so that's a pretty cool day. Same friends also have a hedgehog.
Another not pettable pet. Okay, great.
So in case you're like picking up on a theme here, both of those
they don't want to touch anything they own and feed. Great.
Seem like very cool choices. I feel like I'd be better with the hedgehog due to the dietary restrictions of the hedgehog versus the chameleon. But the chameleon is a really fun looking exotic pet who needs like some attention, but not like Komodo dragon levels of attention.
I have a random question about chameleons that I'll save for later because this is not a chameleon podcast. I think I've always entertained the idea of having like a pygmy owl because I too am grumpy all the time and just like glare at people. I guess maybe emotionally I'm always grumpy and glaring at people, and a pygmy owl would reflect my inner state outwardly. Also, I don't know, owls seem cool. Also, as a younger person, I wanted to have a snake just to like wear as like an armband. I just wanted it for its accessory option.
For shock factor?
Yeah, like, like a total Cleopatra vibe. I just had a Cleopatra vibe as a kid.
That's a lot for a child to
so weird. So yeah, I guess I like my exotic pets to be like aloof and off-putting.
There we go. Perfect. I think my cats can really like fill that niche for you without being too exotic.
They will try to kill me with their dander, and I respect that, but how dare they? My spouse does often call me a house cat because I prefer to read a book in a patch of sunlight, and how dare you touch me unless I invite you to touch me. So
that tracks.
Yeah, that sound about right? Okay. Yes. All right. I mean, I've come to accept it. When people are like, dogs or cats, I'm like, well, I prefer dogs, but I am a cat, so both? Both. I feel like I've taken this off the rails, and I'm sorry.
I mean, this is like the 7th time during this episode that we've been wildly off the rails. This is how it is. This is how it is when we like the book so much that we don't really want to ruin it by talking about it too much. This is what happens. That's really what's going on here, is that there is so much in this book that we want to bring up, but then we just nod at each other and the audio would be really boring. And so instead you got pygmy owl and cookie dough conversations.
Pistachio.
Pistachio it is. A foreign kid. I'm gonna claim foreign kid here. I feel like on that note, we should conclude this episode.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Cheers to you as well. I'm gonna go eat my pistachio ice cream. You judgy fuck you.
I deserve that.
Thank you for joining us for an episode of Booklandia.
For more Booklandia, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at l.skyford, Twitter at skyfordl, and hit up our blog, lskyford.com.
We love you to the moon and back, so don't forget to rate and subscribe.
Our eternal thanks for the audio editing and support provided by Finnegan Murphy, who you can find on Twitter at Finnegan1, that's FIONNEGAN, numeral 1, and sometimes Sky herself.